Oh, hello internets! I'm the classic nerd, and it's October, which means the leaves are changing colors, the weather is starting to cool off, and kids dressed up as Iron Man and Spider-Man are begging for candy. I know I said to be reviewing Resident Evil at the end of my last video, but every time I try to play it, it keeps crashing after the second cutscene, and this is on both of my PlayStation consoles. So I decided to review another game. A bad game. One of the worst video games ever made. One of the hardest video games ever made. One of the most confusing video games ever made. That's right, I'm going to be reviewing Friday the 13th for the Nintendo Entertainment System. This game takes a lot of shit lately, especially since people like the Angry Video Game Nerd have reviewed it. I want you to replay this and see if the hate is really warranted, or if it's just a victim of the bandwagon effect. Personally, I never was able to beat the game due to its difficulty. This game is tough and a bit cryptic. Friday the 13th is considered by many to be the worst video game ever made. But really, is it the worst? The story goes like this. It's a typical summer at Camp Crystal Lake. You and your 6 camp counselor friends are watching over the kids while enjoying the lake in the wilderness. The days are bright, the nights are cool, and Jason is on a rampage. It's up to you to stop him, but it's not going to be easy. You must first fight your way through hordes of mindless zombies everywhere you turn. You must also help any friend who is in danger, or else you can just kiss them goodbye. And hiding in the cabin won't keep you safe. Jason will find you anywhere. The only way to survive is to challenge Jason face to face and destroy him. We all know by now that the game was published by LJN, who had a monopoly on NES movie-based licensed games. The actual development studio was Atlus, who would later go on to develop games like Megami Tensei, Persona, and the Trauma Center franchises. My biggest issue with most reviews of this game is the number of people that claim that LJN created the game, which is false. LJN was in charge of marketing, advertising, and financing the game, yet they get shat on. Call me crazy, because I'm sure people will, but I like the visuals in this game. The game opens on a hockey mask and randomly a dagger gets thrown into the eye hole of the mask. Then the Friday the 13th logo appears accompanied by a jarring sound effect. I love this opening. It's exactly what I want from a Friday the 13th video game. The music is also really nice. The intro music is almost like a lullaby, but is also unnerving at the same time. When the game actually starts, we get this awesome beat, which is from the same composer that did the music and sound effects for the Karate Kid game, and I love it. It's hard to explain, but I could honestly listen to it for hours. The only thing that ruins the music is the Jason alarm. The camper sprites look pretty good, even though they are faceless. The pause screen shows the map and is nicely detailed. And hey, the campers do have faces after all! The player controls one of the 6 available camp counselors, and each one has their own strengths and weaknesses. Mark is the fastest counselor, with Debbie and Chrissy being close seconds. You'll want to use Mark and Chrissy as scouts basically, and keep the other 4 counselors close to the lake cabins, since they seem to get attacked pretty often, and the counselors that aren't Mark and Chrissy, unfortunately become Jason fodder. There is a Jason alarm that sounds whenever Jason is in a cabin, and you have 1 minute to save the counselor or the kids that are in the cabin. This is where strategy comes in, because you can switch which counselors you're using by going into a small cabin, and that way you can get rid of Jason, for now. Make sure to keep the fast counselors searching for items and weapons. The game goes from a side-scroller to a third-person perspective when you enter into a cabin, which is a little disorienting. When the player meets up with Jason inside of a cabin, the game totally changes and turns into a weird Mike Tyson's Punch-Out clone, where the player must fight Jason. You can dodge and throw projectiles at Jason, and if you beat him, his difficulty increases the next time you see him. The first time you play through the game, when you encounter Jason inside the cabins, you will get rocked. He is way stronger compared to the player. The game unfolds in 3 days, so you have 3 days to defeat Jason or it's game over. Throughout the game lies 6 weapons, each better than the last to a certain extent, but the only weapon you should worry about is the torch, which kills enemies with 1 hit and takes away 1 hit point from Jason per hit. In order to use the torch, you must first light all the fireplaces and go to a specific large cabin to obtain it. Crystal Lake is home to both small and large cabins. Small cabins will have counselors and kids, and there's a way players can swap counselors, and the large cabins house fireplaces that the player must light using a lighter, not the torch like the game tells you. Other than the cabins, there's the lake, the cave, and the forest. The cave is where you can find Jason's mother, Mrs. Voorhees, and you can get her sweater to wear, but is only effective if you're a female counselor like Chrissy. You can also find a machete, an axe, or a pitchfork depending on the day and what you've accomplished so far in the game. The forest is home to Jason's shack, where you can get a letter that will tell you that Jason hates fire. This game is hard. If you don't have the instruction booklet, then you will not know how to play this game. An issue I have with modern games is how much hand-holding there is. But a similar issue I have with retro games is how cryptic things are. If you didn't read the instruction booklet, or if you weren't subscribed to Nintendo Power, or if you didn't have friends that played the same game as you, then you were shit out of luck back in the day. Most people complain about the map, but the map can be easily learned. One of my biggest complaints is that in order to upgrade from the rock to a dagger, you had to jump around. While killing zombies results in lighters appearing, the only way for dagger, vitamins, and keys to appear is to jump around seemingly random at times. That doesn't sound too bad, but it's frustrating when you actually light all the fireplaces, read the notes in the right order, go into the cabins in the right order, and finally receive the torch, only to accidentally replace the torch with a dagger because all you wanted to do was to jump over a damn zombie. What happens then? Can you get it again? No! You might as well hit the reset button at that point, and that is a struggle when you're knee deep in day 2 in the middle of beating the game. But once you lose the torch, it's all over anyways. Yeah, you can get the pitchfork, but good luck killing Mrs. Voorhees. It takes 15 hits with a dagger to kill her, and depending on what day you face her, she gets harder because her patterns change and her speed changes as well. I can't believe I lost the torch, all because I wanted to jump over that zombie. I lost the torch, I completely screwed myself, man. I can't beat this game now. The game beat me. Jason wins. Hard, frustrating, confusing. These are just some of the words attached to this NES classic. Hard to learn? Yes. Hard to get good at? Definitely. Near impossible to master? Pretty much. However, a dedicated gamer can get proficient enough with this game, and I challenge you to do the same. I highly suggest people play this game. It has a terrible reputation, but I had a lot of fun playing the game, and that's what matters most. Fun! It's a fun game. I can go back to it and keep playing it. I didn't beat Jason, but it's super addicting and oddly fun. It's one of those games where it's challenging to beat and adds a ton of replay value. Even though I died a lot, I kept getting back on the horse. I kept getting closer to beating Jason. But in the end, Jason beat me. Jason beat me. It's more like Friday the 13th beat me, really. It's just a game. I can go back and I can play it. I'm gonna beat Friday the 13th. You watch! Hey, you lovely people. Thank you for watching my review on Friday the 13th. If you aren't subscribed yet, click that subscribe button. If you hit the subscribe button, you'll make a college student very, very happy. This has been the Classic Nerd, signing out. I kicked your ass!